Let's get to Bob Pisani this morning with the Dow up almost 4%. Morning, Bob.
These futures started overnight up big, and it has stayed up, basically flatlining, and that's because we just had a great response overseas in Asia. A good part of China is closed, but Hang Seng's open. The Nikkei's up about 4%. We just had a great start to the week overall. Korea's up as well. The Stoxx 600 over in Europe is up. Autos are up over in Europe as well. Here in the United States, banking is leading. This is exactly what you want to see. These are the most beaten up sectors that we've had. Retail is leading, another beaten up sector, dramatically lagging. Industrial's doing better, tech. What's lagging today? Hey, consumer staples. Well, remember, that was the old leadership group. So we have essentially inverted at this point. And if you take a look at the old market leaders, Kroger, Clorox, Campbell Soup, General Mills, how many times in the last few weeks have I put them up? And they've been the market leaders, up on days when the market is down. And today we are down on days when the market is up big. So there is, I know this is crazy to say, but there is some rotation going on in the market. And really, this has been the trend for a while. Last week, I spent a lot of time looking at the market's intraday volatility swings compared to the prior 3 weeks. We saw generally lighter volume, about 30% lighter than normal, than we've seen in the prior 3 weeks last week. The VIX is at 44 today. It was at 83 or 4 the end of March. Intraday price swings last week were in the 2 to 3% range. We were at 5 to 7% range in the last several weeks of March. So things were calmer, definitely. Obviously, still a lot of concern out there. I think the part where we're at right now, we're sort of in the middle. There are a lot of people who say we're going to retest the lows. We'll see about that. Remember, 2237 was the March 23rd bottom. We're 340 points away from that. So it's a long way to test the lows. But from the February 19th high, we dropped 27% by the end of last week. At the worst part, we were down 35%. And from the lows, we're up 14%. In fact, if you include this morning's gain of 3%, we're up 17%. So this is why I say we're right sort of in the middle of where we were. And it's debatable whether we'll retest those old lows. 350 points, a long way to go on the S&P to retest those lows. But some people feel that's quite possible. It's heartening, I think, to see a lot of the earnings estimates because no one has a clue what's going on. But a lot of the earnings estimates seem to be coalescing in the down 20 to 30% range. Mike Wilson over at Morgan Stanley, I think he's representative of this. He's estimating today that we'll see declines for 2020 in the low teens to 20%. There is a lot of debate about what's going to happen with dividends and buybacks, an awful lot over the weekend on buybacks. He noted that dividends were cut 12% in 2008. There have already been a few dividend cuts. I don't think we're going to see quite as many. Buybacks is a much more serious issue here. He thinks there's a 50% decline in buybacks. Remember, we had north of $800 billion last year. And if we get a 50% decline, that'll remove about a 1% tailwind to the EPS numbers. Others like Goldman think it could be a lot more severe than that. We'll see. Remember, the earnings were cut. The buybacks were cut nearly 100% in 2008, but most of that was because of the banks all got cut. They were big buyback people. Finally, Carl, you mentioned my dear friend, Art Cashin. Nice story up on tradertalk.cnbc.com with Art and his thoughts on coronavirus. I think the important thing is just that Art is back. He moved back into his house on Friday. He is in rehab. And Carl, I of course said, when are you coming back on? When can we get you on the air? When can we talk on the phone with you, with me and you and Carl and all the guys? And he said, maybe a little later this week. I think the great thing about Art Cashin here, my favorite line in this, when I said, everybody says, stay in the rehab and keep doing the rehab. Carl, he said, the hell with the rehab. When are they going to reopen Bobby Vance? Now you know, Carl, Art Cashin is feeling a lot better, and he sends his great gratitude for all the best wishes for all the people out there who have flooded on Twitter wishing him the best. He sends his love to everyone that is out there. Carl, back to you.
Some of the best news of the weekend, Bob, and everybody should read your piece, cnbc.com/trader-talk.